Looks like we're live. Hi, my name is Nina Means. I'm the director for Austin Community College Fashion Incubator, and I'm here with Alta Alexander of Altitudes, a beautiful boutique on the east side of Austin. Beautiful high-end clothing, and really, just a rising star, within our, retail ecosystem here in Austin. But really the star of the business is Alta herself. So, Alta, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Nina.
Whenever we talk, Alta and I have known each other for some time now. I met her whenever she had just started her store. I was still designing. We can tell more about that story a little bit later. But this year has really brought about, some really interesting times. I wanted to kind of just check in with you, Alta. Like, how are things going? How are you doing?
I'm trying to kind of sift through the ashes, if you will, pun intended, because that's what we're having to do. For those who may not have heard, Altitudes was impacted by a fire from my business neighbor next door. So it was, which was later, as we now know, deemed arson.
Oh no.
And yeah, it's been really harrowing. And so when the fire started over there, um, the smoke and the soot came, and I want to say came through the wall, but for those who may not know, if you haven't visited Altitudes, it's one building divided by a wall and a door. And so the
Okay.
door,
A barber shop on the other side. Is that the one? Okay.
exactly, that's my business neighbor. And so there is a door. We both on our respective sides covered the door with certain things to try and hide the door. Most of the people that ever came to Altitudes didn't even know it was a door there.
Mm-hmm.
But that door allowed for the smoke, the soot, and water from when the firemen came to um, to put out the fire. So the water came through. All of that damaged literally everything in the store. So right now, unfortunately, we're down, and literally trying to rebuild. So
Wow.
waiting for my landlord to do that, and also in the interim, trying to. Hopefully, my business neighbor will give the video to the authorities
Mm.
from camera footage, which he told me he saw somebody on it. So it's just been a lot. It's been
That
a
is it.
yeah. We're getting through it. We're getting through
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
absolutely. So it sounds like so you'll need the camera footage to kind of help with the investigation, or how does that work kind of as a business owner? And I think a lot of times whenever people are planning, or like you get insurance, you get these other things, you hope you never need it,
Right.
but it sounds like you know whenever you go through something like this, as much of the information as you can possibly get helps, to resolve the issue, I would imagine.
Exactly. And he actually told me that he saw somebody come through the back door, and on his side. So we both have back doors. Mine's constantly locked. Mine is continuously locked.
Hmm.
And I said, well, how did they get in? And he said that his door was unlocked.
Oh
And
no.
it was odd. And he said somebody walks in, then you see a flame. All of this he said he saw on his camera. And I was like, give it to them, give it to the authorities.
Hmm.
He said that he told them that he didn't have footage.
Oh
So
no.
it's getting more and more sticky.
I'm so sorry
But
to hear that.
yeah, and folks are thinking, well, maybe either protesters or um, uh, Antifa or someone else did it, or some rioters. I don't think so, because most of those folks, all of those respective entities um, were on like Sixth Street and downtown area,
Right.
and so to miss, to go from sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, and then come
Right.
all the way down and then come through the back door, just kind of
Right.
doesn't,
It didn't seem,
logistically, yeah,
it didn't seem to be the same situation. Yeah.
doesn't, no, not at
Yeah,
all.
I can understand that. whenever I go to your store, like I definitely like I'm making a very specific, trip to come see
Exactly.
Altitudes, and I know exactly where on the right and that beautiful yellow strip,
Yeah.
across the building.
Yeah.
Um, and so I know when I'm going there, I'm going there,
Right.
So yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that. This is really, really difficult for business owners, just being in the pandemic anyway, but having to
Right.
layer this on top of it is really, really challenging. So,
Yeah.
our hearts go out to you,
Thank you.
but I also know that you're strong and you're pushing through this time. That's right.
Trying
That's
to be, yes, I'm really pushing through, and trying to do some different things. People are asking me about the clothing.
that's what I was
Well,
gonna ask you about was what's going on with that. So
yeah. Well, people were saying, "Hey, you could actually have a fire sale." Well, nah, not so much because the clothing has been tremendously damaged. Although it wasn't burned, my business neighbor's site was completely charred out. My site was heavily impacted by smoke, soot, and the water.
Mhm.
So people, if you had gone into it that same day, you would not, aside from the smell of the smoke, you'd be like, well, thank goodness, everything's still intact. There is a deep mist of
Mm.
soot on every single crevice. Things that when I was, I have literally moved all things out of Altitudes and they're now in storage. So
Wow.
that's so that my landlord can come in, and what she's going to do is redo the flooring and the baseboards, because water got on and in all of that. And so and like the clothes, but you can't, if you're selling something that you actually care about, the quality and the customer service, which absolutely I do. That would diminish my brand. So even if you got the clothes cleaned, what I understand is that, well, yeah, you'll kind of smell a little bit, not as much. That's not what you want. When you get a dress from Altitudes, you don't want to go around smelling even remotely like smoke. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
and the heat in Texas, even if you just sweat a little bit, that's
Smelling
not a
to
good
come
look.
out. Yeah, I think that's one thing that it's really easy to miss and not understand. I remember whenever you were telling me you had a lot of your Link sisters come over to help out with the storage.
Yeah,
And I appreciate the genuine nature of, that connection and that
yeah.
community that's been built. That whenever, there's really a need that, people show up.
Oh, yeah.
But you're telling me the story about like how one of them was like, "Oh, girl, see," and like
Yeah.
touching the clothing. What happened with that again? Can you tell?
Well, she was one of my, well, several actually of my Link sisters that were there to help me literally bag up all the clothing there. And so what we did was kind of reconcile what I had on the floor to what I had in my system, just to make sure everything was okay for the insurance company. Um, and they kept saying, "Girl, these dresses are, I can't see these dresses just going in this bag. I'll buy it from you, and at a deep discount." And I was like, I can't I can't sell that in good conscience.
Mhm.
And I said, just give yourself 5 minutes. 5 minutes. It didn't even take that. And I said, then look at your hand. And it didn't even take 5 minutes. And then they
Wow.
were like, my hand is sooty black. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, and you can't really see it. Well, actually, you can see it, but on the clothes, you can't. You couldn't really see it. And then as you touch it, it had seeped in, so it was just
Wow.
like a constant mist
Mm,
that whole time the fire
wow.
was going on. And so now these things are all destroyed. They're not salvageable at all.
I'm so
And
sorry.
I would not, sell them. So we're
Yeah,
probably they're gonna end up in probably in a landfill of some sort. We're gonna throw them away because it wouldn't do any good to give them away to any organization or even the homeless. And I personally think that there may be some toxicity that where I would need
that's
to be
more
concerned.
what I was concerned about was this
Mhm.
PTSD of breathing that in.
Yeah, and
Um,
or it's seeping into your skin. So you don't
Right.
want that. Yeah. So yeah.
So just for safety for the customer, it not being distributed or sold,
Oh, yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
Regarding, I feel like, we're kind of in this, space where a lot of people are just kind of in this holding pattern. They're waiting. They're like, okay, what's my next step?
Right.
Like, what am I going to be doing next? And I know you guys are coming up on, anniversary. I can't, you've been in business now for almost 3 years.
Almost
Almost
next
three
month will be
years.
4 years. Yeah.
Big deal.
Um, well, what's on the horizon for Altitudes, we're really trying to push. Before I was constantly concentrating on making everyone come in. That's what I wanted. I wanted them to experience Altitudes in all its glory. If you couldn't get to Altitudes, of course, yes, online. And luckily, we do have a wonderful website. It's a little bit under construction now because there's nothing to sell right this second, but that's coming up.
It's coming.
Um, it's coming. It's coming. So what we're doing is we're going to do an e-commerce or a digital relaunch, and that's all coming up. So we're going to kind of celebrate. And every other year, my goal and my intention was to host a fashion show, a fashion showcase. So I did one in 2018. Of course, this one was slated for 2020. However, we're in a pandemic, so it's going to look a little different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Just kind of working through that. So we're going to do a virtual showcase, and it's going to be scaled down, so it's going to be like a little capsule.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to just do a couple of pieces, and then of course have those available online so that folks can purchase too.
It's great.
I'm
That's
excited
great.
about that.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm excited. So when do we log on for the virtual showcase, or how do we find out about it?
That's gonna excuse me, that's gonna happen September 18th. That's what I'm trying to land it on the same day as when I open. So it's my actual anniversary.
That's
Um, yes, and that's the goal. But leading up to it, it's gonna be fun stuff. So I don't want to give everything away, but I want
okay.
everybody to log on to my social media on
Okay.
Instagram and Facebook. So please do.
Great.
Um, so there'll be some little mini campaigns leading up to that. And I, with lemon comes the lemonade. So I'm trying to pour the sugar on it.
That's right.
I've really I've really been blessed because an advertising company by the name of Proof,
Uh-huh.
they've taken me on as a pro bono client, and they are fabulous. Uh,
Wow.
yeah,
Tell me
it's
about
like
that.
well, they reached out to me, and they said, "Hey, they were doing unbeknownst to me. I didn't know them. They didn't really know me until the fire situation, and they had heard about it. And they had done an internal fundraising campaign, and that fundraising campaign rendered internally for them. They generated $7,000 for me. In that,
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
It was so unexpectedly wonderful.
Wow.
And so they sent the monies over, and then on top of, they weren't done. That would have been enough, right? But they
Right.
weren't done. They took me on as a pro bono client, and now they are coming up with some really interesting, unique type fun things to do. So I don't, like I said, I don't want to give it away because we're really, moving forward with all these fun things and exciting things. So I can't wait. And those things are happening just in a couple of days. So we're
Oh, wow. Okay. So
things
do we need
on
to
out.
be so do I need to be on your Facebook to catch up with those, or
Instagram and Facebook,
okay.
because both are
Okay.
linked to one another, so you could see it on both. But yes, and that's at Altitudes.
Okay, at Altitudes. So there's in 2 days they've got some special something is about to go down at Altitudes on your social media. So
Right.
all right, so we'll have to catch up with you on social in a couple of days. So
Yes.
at Altitudes on both channels on
Mhm.
social, Facebook and Instagram.
Right. I would suggest if you're not already if you haven't already liked or are following Altitudes, please do
Right.
so you can see it pop up on your feed.
Oh,
So
great.
yeah,
Awesome. So we'll make sure to subscribe so that we're all linked into what's happening with what's
yes,
coming up next for you.
that's right.
One of the things that I really love about the fact that you're working with Proof, I think we're talking a little bit about just kind of that experience of them writing in for you and then being able to, you know, move into these new campaigns and platforms, but in a way that feels right. Like, I mean, I want to hear more about that experience.
It's they've really, I mean, because right now, as you can imagine, like you mentioned a second ago, there is so much more pressure with this pandemic, and then now with the fire situation that's impacted us. It's really great to have someone who can come in and who has studied. So proof, I don't know if other advertising agencies are like this. If not, I hope that they will hear this. But it was so refreshing for proof to be able to come in and they got me. You know, they literally did their research on me and they understood what who I am and they actually could speak in my voice. It's almost like they could mimic me. It was amazing.
That's
And so
incredible.
it really is because I was like, okay, did I say I had to even look and be like, wait, did I just say that or did they do it? And I was like, how did y'all know that? And then they even extracted things. They looked at my all the background, my website, my Instagram, Facebook, all of that, and they studied it, they researched it, and they came up with new campaigns, but that really spoke to who I am and who Altitudes is and what I'm trying to achieve. And so I can't say enough great things about them. And they've been dedicated to me. We meet every Tuesday like clockwork and um, they are on it. So I really am blessed. I'm really blessed. So
Truly, truly, with the fact that you're receiving, that level of support pro bono, I feel like sometimes you get it pro bono support and it's just like, hey, this is what we had left over. But it sounds like you're getting a really good experience.
right. That it I don't feel like I'm a pro bono client, you know? I don't feel like they're doing this like, I don't feel secondary at all. They make me feel extremely special. I feel like they're on it. They let me know, hey, this is coming up, you might want to think about this. This is in here. We've created some things. So I'm trying not to give it away, but
Yes, okay.
so
We'll keep it under wraps. We won't yeah, I know. I'm like, I really want to know what it is, but we have some things to look forward to. So we'll just focus on that. We've got some really exciting things to look forward to. You know,
exactly.
I guess whenever you're looking at like the larger scope of altitudes, like I know that a lot of us are going digital right now, so they're building e-com and all the campaigns and things like that. But in terms of like just in your vision and your what you're wanting to see, what does that look like for you, and how would you like to see things grow over time?
You know, I feel like I'm an optimistic realist, and I can see that things are not going to be the same. They're not going to go back to the same per se. So what I'm seeing more is that more as far as the fashion, more simplicity, more um, just comfort in within your style. So I'm
Mhm.
looking at that. So I'm this is an optimal time for me to really delve a little bit deeper into the different designers and brands that I'm carrying. While I still want to have those that are local, regional, and global, I also want to make sure that I look at sustainability. That's really big for me, and I was already headed in that direction anyway. So I was already moving towards more sustainable designers and designers and brands. And just on some level, I would prefer it be 100%, but that's really, really difficult to achieve. Although you can constantly strive for that. So that's kind of what I'm looking for in the future. I want to be able to continuously continue to bring those unique pieces that just have just something a little extra. And so there are some brands that I'm still going to maintain. And if they haven't pivoted and moved to different things, some of my designers have
True.
because of COVID. So this is
Mhm.
an opportunity for them to kind of flex their muscles in other areas. So,
Mhm.
but those that are still there that I'm choosing to move forward with, that's I'm going to try and just be a little bit more um, insightful to move forward with those brands that have that sustainability component. That means a lot to me too, and I think it's going to eventually mean a lot to my customers for the longevity of the pieces that they have.
I
So,
would agree. I think that, it seems that the consumers are really shifting, like really into long wear, high value pieces.
mhm.
And so, I love that you're really wanting to focus on sustainability. I also applaud you on just kind of saying, hey, we're on a journey
Yeah,
of sustainability. I think a lot of times people feel the pressure of saying everything's sustainable, and they just kind of greenwash
yeah,
everything, and it's like, well, there's a carbon footprint on something, and,
yeah,
but it's so honest to say, hey, we're on our journey and we're making it more sustainable and we'll get more sustainable over time,
exactly.
and so, no, definitely kudos to you. I know this has definitely been one of those times where there's been so much happening at the same time.
Yeah. All at
Uh,
the same time. So,
yeah.
I mean, but you just have to kind of push through it,
Mhm.
and hopefully and I think we will. We'll all come out better on the other side. So
Mhm.
it's just going to take time. My concern is when though, So
Always.
yeah, I'm pushing it, but you can't go too fast.
No, I hear you. And I agree with you. I think that there's definitely, there's that feeling of like, you know what, we're tired of being in this space. We're tired of having to constantly, we're in our house, we've got an eye on a 2-year-old in the corner, trying to make things work,
Right.
and so it's not easy right now.
It's not.
But kind of wading through this with the insurance and the arson and all of that with the store, I am so sorry that that's been, part of this experience for you.
Right.
But I think that, we'll be wanting to find ways to support you, and to kind of let
Mhm.
others know how to support you as well. So, are there, um, any other exciting things you want to share, or any things that we can do to kind of look for ways to support Altitudes, as you guys are kind of rebuilding and putting things back together?
Well, I still have my GoFundMe up and my PayPal. So those are options to support
Okay.
on the financial level. But then also, if people would share, if they would not just like of course, follow, but then also share that information with their particular with their particular followers and persons who like their social media. Those are ways that can help too. And
Okay.
so, yeah, those are the ways. And then, of course, let's not forget, once I'm up and running, either on the e-commerce site or at Altitudes, let's purchase.
That's right. Let's go shopping.
Let's shop. Let's have some
We are
fun.
doing all the things. We got a little cameo. Um, well, I think this is a really great place to kind of wrap up for us.
Yeah,
Would you like some bubba? So we are, first of all, thank you so much for joining me.
thank
It's
you.
such a pleasure to have you. And it was honestly such a pleasure to be one of the first designers to put,
I was just gonna say,
in your store.
we we talked about that we just hint on it in the beginning of the conversation. But Nina, you were the first, actually, not one of the first. You were the first designer in Altitudes. So
Wow.
before my floors and racks got in, it was hilarious. I just want to say this to those who are listening or viewing that I know if I could recreate Nina's face when she first walked in Altitude, construction,
No, don't.
in with her beautiful high-end designs, and I had already talked to her about my vision for Altitudes and everything. So she was expecting, I think, for things to be done a little bit more than they had at that point. And so she walks in and she was like this, "Hi, I'm here with the clothes." And I was like, "It's gonna get better, I promise." And it was literally under construction, but it was so her face was so hilarious. But she was you were my first designer, and I love that. And I'm hoping that you'll come back to Altitudes with some of your beautiful pieces too. So
I would genuinely consider it an honor. Like I know that you have built that business with your own two hands, and that from what I've seen you do with like Studio 512 and the national campaigns that you've had, like I love that we can support and sew into one another. And
yes,
so, as things are, we will go back to that room again,
that's right.
and start over,
Start over.
so yeah, I'm always honored to be able to be a part of your business and what you're doing. But I am genuinely inspired by your work, and I can't wait to see you on the other side of this. This is a transition.
Yes,
It's just
exactly.
day by day, one foot in front of the other. So,
I was going
it's
to say
really
that's funny that you would say transitions. That's the theme of my altitude showcase. So that gives you, I know, right? So
yeah.
you're on that right track. Yeah,
Okay.
great
All
minds
right.
think alike. Great minds. That's
Excellent. Yes, that's absolutely right. I love that. I love it.
right.
So I can't wait to participate, to be able to watch the virtual showcase on September 18th, right?
September
So
18th, we're going to be, filming it sometime real soon, but then it's going to launch September 18th. So,
excellent.
yes.
Excellent. Well, we can't wait. And I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for whatever this campaign is that's coming out in a couple of days. So if you haven't already subscribed to Altitudes on Facebook or Instagram, definitely go ahead and do that so you can get your notifications that it's going on.
Yes.
I'm actually going to go do that right now. And if you are looking for ways to support Alta as she's transitioning from this phase with, this unfortunate circumstance during the pandemic, small businesses need support. So if you're looking for small businesses to support, this is a really great one. So a lot of work in the community, and I know you were doing the program for young women every
Multiple
year.
days.
Yeah, so some really great initiatives that are really building the community, in addition to great shopping. So it's always good to feel like you're supporting businesses that are really trying to make an impact in their communities as well. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Alta, thank you for joining
Thank
us today.
you. Thank you. Good to see you too.
So
Uh,
good to see you. If you guys want to keep up with our YouTube channel, our live sessions, definitely hit the bell to subscribe to our YouTube channel at ACC Fashion Incubator. If you've gotten a chance to take a look at our Instagram or LinkedIn, we do a lot of our updates on videos that we've done right here on YouTube for live for the replay. So if you've missed any of our live sessions, you'll get a chance to catch up with us on Instagram and at times on LinkedIn for the repost. So again, all of our handles are at ACC Fashion Incubator, unless you're on Twitter, where it's a little too long. So at ACC Fashion Incube. And if you want to go ahead and subscribe to our email list, we'll just share with you some of the upcoming workshops and master classes we've got on deck. So it's fashion.incubator@austincc.edu. So guys, that's all we have for today. My name is Nina Means. I'm the director for Austin Community College Fashion Incubator, and this has been ACCFI Presents.